Hey everyone. So, if you're new to the channel, I have this series called the Potato Masher where I have a budget PC with a GTX 760 and an i5 750, and I review and compare games on the PS4, the Xbox One, and the PC to show you what type of experience you can get with a budget rig. Now, last year I posted a video saying you should not play Forza Horizon 3 on a budget rig, and I made that shortly after the game came out because, as many people know, on PC the game was very, very poorly optimized. And they did improve it quite a bit, and the game itself is fun, so it wasn't a never buy Forza Horizon under any circumstances. I mean, I played the game and loved it on my Xbox, but I did not think it was a good value on PC, and I don't support any developer putting that little effort into their PC port. I mean, I'm sure they worked on it hard, but nobody could have looked at that port and been like, yeah, this is fit to release. I mean, I can't imagine why they did that. But anyway, they improved the game quite a bit, and a lot of people have been excited because Forza 7 is the first full typical Forza Motorsport game coming out on PC, and it's coming out very shortly here. And Turn 10 released a demo, and they said that this is built from the ground up on the PC, and it should be a lot better, and they've learned a lot from the optimization mistakes from before, etc., etc. So a lot of people are probably planning on pre-ordering this game, but I'm making this video to encourage you not to pre-order Forza 7 on PC. Now, this footage you've been looking at right here is the game at 1080p, all dynamic settings on the Potato Masher, and the specs are in the description if you want to check that out. So you might be thinking, well, you know, it's a really old GPU and it's an old processor and everything, like that's why you're getting this crummy performance. This is all dynamic settings, 1080p. The game seems to be targeting 30 FPS, but it goes above it at times. So I don't know if it's trying to hit 60 or not. But 60 is the target for this game because that's the frame rate that the consoles run it at. And so, of course, I'd want to run it at the same on the Potato Masher, especially because it's a racing game. I mean, the Forza Horizon series, I've run those at 30 FPS before. But for regular Forza, Project Cars, Dirt Rally, etc., you want to be running at 60 FPS if at all possible. And besides the fact that the game doesn't appear to be very well optimized for older GPUs, which even after Forza Horizon 3 was fixed, that's the same thing I saw with that game, and I've made a video in the last couple months. The GTX 760 just really has a lot of trouble running that game, even though it can run similar games much, much better. So part of that's just the old architecture of the GPU, I'm sure. Some of it's probably poor older driver support from NVIDIA, I'm sure. But the game engine itself appears to be very poorly optimized for older NVIDIA GPUs specifically, compared to plenty of other games that it has no trouble running whatsoever. And you can see here, the frame rate's all over the place, the frame timing is all over the place, there's frequent frame rate drops, the GPU is maxed out some of the time, but it's not maxed out all the time, so that's just kind of frustrating. And now here you can see I've set the frame rate target to 30 FPS, everything else is on dynamic settings. So the GPU usage ranges from like 40 or 50% all the way up to 100% or 99%. And the frame rate is usually at 30 FPS, but it still drops quite a bit. And even when it's locked at 30, you can see the frame timing is all over the place. And that leads to the game feeling very stuttery and not smooth. Because with good motion blur, 30 FPS doesn't even have to look that bad. Now, you're going to have a lot of increased control latency, but I mean, like, games are perfectly playable for a lot of people at 30 FPS. But when the frame timing's bad, I mean, you might as well be playing at like 15 FPS. It just feels terrible. And that's what I'm seeing in this game. Even when I dropped to 720p, turned off all dynamic settings, and forced the game to the lowest settings, you can see the GPU usage isn't very high at all. But the frame rate is sometimes 60, sometimes it drops into the 40s, and even when it's at 60, frame timing all over the place. And that's with plenty of CPU overhead, GPU overhead, the RAM's not maxed out. Like, there shouldn't be any reason it's performing this badly other than poor optimization. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, and it's totally fair. You're thinking this is an old PC, you're just upset because it doesn't run well, the game's probably fine. And, you know, I wondered that after I tested this the first time. I was seeing some of the same behavior I saw in Forza Horizon 3 with the Potato Masher, but in the interest of being fair, I did boot the demo up on my personal rig, which is running a 4790K, a GTX 1080 Ti, 32 gigs of RAM. The game is installed on an SSD. So there shouldn't be any reason that the game isn't being fed everything it can possibly use. And you can see here, this is the same track again. This is with everything forced to the absolute highest settings, 4K, 60 FPS, no resolution scaling, every setting cranked. And you can see that the GPU is doing perfectly fine. Like, it's not being used that hard. It's barely sweating. And the game is pretty reliably at 60 FPS, so problem solved, right? Well, not really, because the frame rate does drop. It doesn't drop nearly as much, but there are frequent drops to like 58 or 57 FPS, and even when the game is locked at 60, the frame timing, as you can see, is still all over the place. Now, it's not jumping to like 80 milliseconds or anything. I mean, it's staying right around 16.6 milliseconds, but that's not good because even with those very slight changes it's doing right there, it doesn't feel like a locked smooth 60 FPS, which is what it feels like on the Xbox One. That's the thing. It's not like this game is just poorly optimized across the board. The Forza games have always ran pretty well on Xbox, and they are awesome games, but it's on PC where they've just had a lot of trouble getting them to run well. So even at 60 FPS, I would not say the experience is ideal, at least on my PC. But I'm seeing plenty of other people online reporting the same things. Now, some people are never going to throw on a frame rate graph or a frame timing counter, and they're not really going to notice, and they're going to play it, and it's going to be perfectly fine. And to be honest, I mean, the game, at least on my personal rig, it runs well enough that chances are I will be buying it. Now, I was going to buy it to do a review anyway, but what I want to encourage you is I have a wide mix of hardware here. I have literally one of the fastest GPUs available on the market, and then I have one that's quite a few years old and a lot slower, and I'm getting similarly bad performance on both of them, although my personal rig has enough power to brute force the whole thing, and it's not so bad. But I want to encourage you to let me and other YouTubers and other review outlets, let us test the game first. Don't pre-order this. I do think it's quite a bit better optimized than Forza Horizon 3 because that game was just an embarrassment at launch on the PC, but I still don't think it's optimized well enough that I would put down my hard-earned cash for it, unless I was getting it for a review here. So maybe there'll be a couple patches right after the game launches and all this will be fixed and it'll be no big deal, or maybe most people will not have any problems and I just had bad luck on both of my computers, but I doubt that's the case. I think this game has optimization issues. I think you should at the very least wait till a couple post-release patches so they can sort out some of these issues. So if you're at all curious at seeing how good the game can look, I've posted a video that'll be linked at the end of this video where I actually run the game at 6K on my personal rig if you want to see how clean and pretty it can be. But other than that, I hope you had fun looking at this footage of the game being stuttery, and I encourage you to wait until it's released and it's patched and everybody gives it the okay before you spend your money on it. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. This is a little more casual. I don't have a script written up or anything else, just kind of talking about my thoughts on the game. And I hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope you have a great day.